America mourns Nancy Reagan, but the president stays away. Relatives from 10 White House families attend former First Lady's funeral with 1,000 guests while Obama speaks at Tech Festival. Nearly 1,000 people, including a veritable who's who of American political life, journalism and Hollywood, gathered on Friday in Simi Valley, California, for the funeral of Nancy Reagan. The dignified and powerful service saw readings and remembrances by Reagan's niece and nephew, as well as former White House Chief of Staff James A. Baker and journalists Diane Sawyer and Tom Brokaw. The guests also witnessed Patty Davis describe her turbulent relationship with her mother and their undying love in devastating fashion. Davis described her parents as two halves of a circle, recalling a long-ago memory of seeing the two of them sitting on a Southern California beach at sunset in what she called an impenetrable island for two. Reagan's son, Ronald Prescott Reagan, also spoke at the funeral, telling guests there likely would not have been a President Ronald Reagan without Nancy Reagan, saying she had an absolute belief in him, as well as provided guidance and a refuge. Friday's service brought together Democrat and Republican, an unusual tableau at a time of deep division in Washington and the 2016 campaign trail. The biggest stars in entertainment, not only of today, but those of Reagan's time in the White House, are also in attendance. President Barack Obama did not attend to the services, as he had a prior engagement in Austin, Texas, where he is a keynote speaker at South by Southwest. The funeral started at 11 a.m. on Friday, with a musical prelude beginning at 10:15 a.m. by the Santa Susana High School Advanced Women's Choir and Abbey Road a cappella, and an instrumental prelude by the 1st Marine Division Band, Marine Corps Camp Pendleton. A love letter from Ronald Reagan to Nancy was also read at the service by former Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney as a reminder that their romance was one of the more enduring romances in modern American public life. The Rev. Stuart E. Kenworthy, Vicar, Washington National Cathedral, presided over the funeral. Former television producer George Schlatter, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and Katie Couric were some of the first to arrive to services, according to LA News Group's Lisette Marquez. Other attendees included former Reagan administration official at BEAS, Larry King, Mike Love of the Beach Boys, television writer and producer Norman Lear and Steve Ford, son of President Gerald Ford. Also on hand are actress Bo Derek, actor Tom Selleck and singer Johnny Mathis. Mathis became friends with Nancy Reagan and often visited her home in the Bel Air area of Los Angeles, where she died Sunday at age 94. Mathis says he and the former First Lady enjoyed singing together. Other attendees include former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and his wife, Maria Shriver, Blaine Trump and Steve Simon, and TV host Melissa Rivers. Mourners at Nancy Reagan's funeral heard prayers, music and reminiscences of the former First Lady. Former Reagan administration official James Baker recounted the first meeting of then Nancy Davis and Ronald Reagan, and later, her devastation when her husband was wounded in an assassination attempt. Veteran television journalists Diane Sawyer and Tom Brokaw gave recollections of Nancy Reagan. Several politicians and other funeral attendees spoke to reporters outside the library ahead of services to explain Reagan's great legacy. Ronald Reagan was one of the best presidents we've ever had, and I admired them both as a couple for their love story and the support they showed to each other, said retired schoolteacher Mary Ellen Grundyke from Riverside. Mrs. Reagan planned the smallest details of her funeral. She selected the funeral's flower arrangements, the music to be played by a Marine Corps band and the list of guests invited to the private memorial. The library site, where the 40th president was buried in 2004, provides sweeping views of horse country dotted with oaks and, on a clear day, a vista to the Pacific. The Reagans just fell in love with the spot. Boston developer and Republican fundraiser Gerald Blakely recalled in a 2004 interview, he was part of a partnership that donated the land where the library now sits. "We're just grateful for the Reagan years," Ray Brooks of Simi Valley said Thursday as he waited in line with his wife Jackie to board a shuttle to the library grounds, where Mrs. Reagan's casket was placed in the marble lobby with a bronze statue of a smiling Ronald Reagan nearby. Everybody, no matter how they felt about those years, when they look back they remember them as good years because of the example they set. "We need an example like that now," Brooks said.